Today I'll show you how to crochet this mesh cardigan. This cardigan is suitable for beginners, and the two stitches we use is single crochet and double crochet. This pattern is made to measure, so I'll tell you what is what in the process and you can adjust it to your liking. I used this yarn. As you can see, it's 8 ply. That's the thickness of the yarn. It is equivalent to weight 3. But like I said before, the pattern is made to measure, so you can use a different weight yarn. It doesn't really matter. And this one calls for a 4mm hook, but I usually like to size up. I'll be using a 5mm. If you use a different weight yarn, you can stick to the recommended hook size on your yarn label, or you can go up 0.5 to 1mm. You can also make a swatch to help you decide the actual hook you want to use. So besides the yarn on the hook, you will also need scissors, a yarn needle, tape measure, and some stitch markers. We're gonna make the back panel first, beginning with the chain, and this chain will be the width of the cardigan. So I'm going to make a slip knot first, and make a chain that is the width of the cardigan. But this chain number has to be an odd number. And that is because of the pattern we're going to use here. To form any number of squares, we need an odd number of stitches. For example, 2 squares is 5 stitches, and 3 squares is 7 stitches. And for this back panel, I chained 85, and that is about 24, almost 25 inches. So this is made to measure. This is my measurement. I want my cardigan to be 25 inches wide, and I'm using a weight 3 yarn, so to reach 25 inches, I need to chain 85 chains. You can adjust this. It doesn't really affect the pattern much. Okay, so after you've chained your chain number 85 for me, you're going to chain 1 as the turning chain, because we're going to work in the opposite direction. In the second chain from the hook, this one, you're going to insert your hook, yarn over, and make a single crochet. So you pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. And then in the next chain, we're going to work 1 more single crochet, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're just going to continue doing this. Work 1 single crochet in each chain. And that's row 1. This is the bottom edge of the panel. It gives it a little bit more finished look. So you're just going to work single crochets to the end of the row. And this is the last stitch. So work a single crochet in it and turn. From row 2, we're going to begin the pattern, and it's just 1 row repeat. I began my first double crochet differently, but I'll show you the common way to do it. So you're going to chain 2 as your first double crochet, okay, and then chain 1, skip the next stitch, work a double crochet in the next one. And to work a double crochet, yarn over, insert your hook in this stitch. You will insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2 again. Okay, then you do this again, chain 1, skip 1, 1 double crochet in the next stitch. So chain 1, skip 1, next stitch, double crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. For those who want to do exactly what I do, in the first stitch, insert your hook, pull up a loop, 1 single crochet first, and then in this left vertical loop, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, a second single crochet. And that is my first double crochet instead of a chain 2. I feel like this way my work is neater, the edge is neater, the edge looks like this. Okay, and then I'll do that chain 1, skip the next stitch, and then in the stitch after, double crochet. And then continue repeating this chain 1, skip 1, 1 double crochet in the next stitch. And you're just going to repeat this to the end of the row. Now I have 2 stitches left and I just finished a double crochet. I'm going to chain 1, skip 1, and in the last single crochet, work a double crochet. Turn my work, and then you're just going to begin your row in whichever way I showed you. So you can chain 2 as the first double crochet, but I'll do my way. So I'm going to make a single crochet first, and then in this loop, make another single crochet. And you just repeat the same pattern, same row, chain 1. Now the stitch you need to skip is a chain 1. So you skip 1, and in the next stitch, which is a double crochet, you're going to work a double crochet. So it's the same pattern as the last row, but from here it's going to be a bit easy to work because you can see which stitches you should work into. Okay, so just chain 1, skip the chain 1, and in the double crochet work a double crochet, and I'll see you at the end of the row. Okay, end of this row. If you've chained 2 at the beginning, the work will look something like this. So you're gonna chain 1, skip the next chain, which is this one, and you're gonna work in the next chain. If you turn it around, you have 1, 2, 3 chains here. You're gonna insert in the second one. And when you insert your hook, the back of the chain is facing you, so you're just gonna insert it like that naturally, and then work a double crochet. And if you did your first double crochet like I did, your work is gonna look something like this. So from the top, it still looks like 3 chains, 1, 2, 3. You're still gonna insert in the second chain. So chain 1, skip 1, and in the next stitch, insert in the top 2 loops, and then work a double crochet. Okay, so from the next row, we're just gonna keep doing the same thing. Work your first double crochet, repeat row 3, and work your panels. The front panel is about half of the back panel because this number is an odd number and you have 2 front panels. You will add 1 stitch to this chain number. So mine is 85, I add 1 is 86, and then you divide that number by 2. 86 divided by 2 is 43, and that is going to be my front panel chain number. So after I chain 43, I'm going to do exactly the same thing we did here. So you're going to chain 1 and work 1 single crochet in each stitch, and then you work this pattern here. So exactly like the back panel, the only difference is the beginning chain number. Now I got one back panel and one front panel. I'm working on the second front panel here. And as you can see, a front panel is about half the back panel. So the stitch numbers are different, but the row count is gonna be the same. For all the panels, I'm gonna have 30 rows, of course, and that's from my shoulder to the bottom of the cardigan. Again, depending on how long you want your cardigan to be. And 30 rows for me is 19 inches, but it kind of depends on how you measure it. If you stretch it a little bit, it's 20 inches. If you just let it relax, it's 19 inches. For each panel, after you finished it, I've got 30 rows here, 30 rows of double crochets, plus that one single crochet row at the very beginning. So after that, you're going to chain 1 and leave some length and then cut your yarn. It could be like double this length, for example. Cut your yarn and pull through. And you do that for all 3 panels. Okay, now we're going to sew the panels at the shoulders. But first you need to find out which side is the right side, because there is a right side, which is this one. So you look at the single crochets. This single crochet row was worked in this direction. This side is the right side. The wrong side looks like this. So that's the wrong side of the back panel. And right side of the front panel. These 2 front panels are the same, so it doesn't matter which side is which. So now we're going to sew it up at the shoulders like this, but not all the way, otherwise we won't have a neckline. So how long you should join here depends on how big you want your neckline to be. It could be like this or smaller. I haven't decided that yet, so I'm gonna do this first, and at some point around here I'm gonna put it on and see how it looks. But to sew it on, I'm using a yarn needle this time because I want the seam to be flat. If you use a crochet hook to slip stitch, the seam is gonna be not like that, but more like this. To sew it up, I'll just use the mattress stitch. So I first attach this yarn to the first stitch on this side on top of the double crochet. And then I'll work in the top down manner. So basically I'm gonna go in this stitch top down, this stitch top down, and next stitch top down, next stitch top down. So just alternate like that. So in the first stitch, top down like that. First stitch over here, top down. Next stitch is a chain 1. Instead of working in the space, I'm gonna insert in the top 2 loops like that. Okay, so insert, pull through. Next stitch on this side, still a chain 1, and insert your needle like that. So I'm just gonna continue doing this. And after some stitches, you just pull this yarn to pull the stitches together. But after that, loosen it up a bit. Make sure the stitches are not too close together. So I'm going to do this from both ends of the shoulders. I'll put it on, then I'll tell you how many stitches I've done. So for the shoulder, I kept joining until I have 6 squares left. And then I'll go into the same stitches one more time. and fasten off on the wrong side. So just go through the loops on the wrong side and then tie a knot. The neckline still needs some work, but I'll do it after the sleeve. So the sleeve is worked in panel. First, I'm going to do 1 row of single crochet to build the base, and we're going to do it from the right side. So you're going to make sure you have the right side of the cardigan facing you. This is the right side, that's the wrong side. So look at the single crochet row. So this is the right side. So first I'm going to mark the 15 squares on each panel. So from the shoulder, that's the shoulder seam, 1, 2, I'm just counting the squares, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the 15th. I'm going to place a stitch marker right here. Do the same thing on the other side. '15th, a stitch marker here. By the way, this length from the shoulder to the underarm is about almost 10 inches. Now I'm going to open up the cardigan like this. I'm still having the right side facing me. And I'll do 1 row of single crochet from here to here. I'm going to do 2 single crochets for each double crochet row. So I'm going to attach my yarn here. Insert my hook. And pull the slip knot through, chain 1. So the first single crochet I'm going to work in the same stitch here. So chain 1, insert in the same stitch. I'm going to carry this tail so I don't have to weave it in later. And work a single crochet here. I'm going to remove the stitch marker and place it in the first single crochet. And then the next single crochet I'll work in here, carrying the tail, 2, and another 2 single crochets for the next row. When you reach the shoulder seam here, you should have 30 single crochets because we have 15 double crochet rows. And then work 1 extra single crochet for the seam and another 30 single crochets for these 15 rows. So together I would have 61 stitches. Make sure it's an odd number because we're going to be working the sleeve as a panel like this using the same pattern. So again, your foundation stitch number should be an odd number. So for the first 30 stitches, you can count from the stitch marker because the very first one is marked. The last stitch is here, 61. And then we can begin the rows just like before. So turn your work, and I'll work my first double crochet, and then you chain 1, skip 1, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and then continue doing that to the last stitch here, and then you just work back and forth to work the sleeve. Okay, so I've done 27 rows here, and it measures about 18 inches. To determine the length of your sleeve, you need to put it on, and if you want it to be longer, you just work more rows. But you need to work an odd number of rows so that the next row we're gonna work, we work it from the right side. And the next row is a single crochet row. So after the last double crochet, chain 1, turn, from the first double crochet, work 1 single crochet in each stitch. For the space, this chain 1, you just insert in the space and make a single crochet. And then the next stitch is in the double crochet, next stitch in the space. And then in the last double crochet, make a single crochet, and then we're going to sew the sleeve together like this from the wrong side. So this is the right side and that's the wrong side. I'm going to take out the hook and insert in this first single crochet, and then pull this loop through, chain 1. Now I'm going to slip stitch these edges together. This is the underarm, so you can't see the seam, and also it's faster to seam this kind of edge together with the hook. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to first insert in here, just before the space, and then go on the other side as well. Pull yarn through and slip stitch. And the next stitch, I'm going to go in the space, both of them. Go in the space and slip stitch. And then I'm going to alternate between a stitch and the space. So continue doing this. So when you get to the underarm, that's the sleeve, that's the underarm. You're going to continue joining the side seam all the way to the bottom of the cardigan. So I'm going to work to this stitch marker, work 1 stitch, 1 slip stitch in the stitch marker, and then I'll continue from here. Make sure these stitches line up, these squares, and then I'll begin from here. And then do the same thing. 1 slip stitch in the space and 1 slip stitch in the stitch. So at the end, 1 in the space, 1 in the stitch, and then you want to do 1 more for this single crochet row. So you just insert in the corner, slip stitch, chain 1, and cut the yarn. Last, I'm going to do 1 single crochet round all the way around from the bottom here along this edge to this corner around the neckline, and then all the way back to the other side of the front border. And just like the seam that we did here, I'm going to work 2 single crochets for each double crochet row. Actually, I'll do it from this corner to this one because this is the right side and I want to crochet with the right side facing me. So not from this corner to this, but this to this. So attach your yarn to this first stitch, and then chain 1. In the same stitch, work a single crochet. Again, I'm going to carry this tail, and then I'll work 2 single crochets for each double crochet row. When you work the single crochet, don't pull it too tight. because you want this edge to be stretchy. This is the last row. 2 single crochets in this. And because this is a corner, I'm going to work 1 more single crochet in it. And then I'll work in this direction, beginning with a single crochet here in the same stitch again, and then a single crochet in the chain 1. Single crochet in the double crochet, and then single crochet in the chain 1. And then you just continue doing this to the shoulder seam here. Now I just worked a single crochet in this chain 1, and this is a double crochet. It is sewed with a double crochet on the other side, which is the back panel. So this and this stitch are joined together. So if I skip these two and work a single crochet here, it'll leave a hole. So what I do is work a single crochet 2 together. So in this double crochet, I'm gonna pull up a loop, and then in the double crochet on the other side, pull up 1 more loop, yarn over, and pull through all. And then the next stitch is a chain 1, continue working your single crochet. And when you get to the other shoulder seam, you're going to do the same. In this double crochet, pull up a loop, and then the double crochet on the other side, pull up 1 more loop, and then yarn over, pull through all. And then turn your work starting from a chain 1, work to the next color. Okay, 1 single crochet here, and then 1 single crochet here, and because this is a corner, 1 more single crochet. And then from this edge, work 1 single crochet for each double crochet row. I'm going to start at the very beginning here. 1 single crochet, and then right here, a second one, and then you just continue working like this to the end of the row. So when you get to the bottom of the front panel here, don't forget we have 1 more single crochet row. So I'm going to work the last single crochet here. And then chain 1, fasten off. Okay, so now the cardigan is mostly done. All you need to do left is fasten off any yarn tails you have.